Well, hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to Sci-Finatics. Well, today we're talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It's going to hit our TV screens in about 6 weeks' time with its second season of the show. And today I have a bit of an exclusive for you. We have the episode titles for Season 2. And we're going to go through the titles for each episode from 1 through 10 and I guess see if we can maybe match them up with some of the images that we saw recently from the trailer that was released for Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2 and work out what episodes we're getting in kind of what order and what their titles are. Let's get into that. Well, our first episode of the season, episode 1, is entitled The Broken Circle. I'm guessing this is going to be the Una Chinrali #1 on trial for being an augment episode. We saw a couple of shots in the trailer with like a bell being rung, like a tribunal or a court proceeding is going to begin, and also a #1's service record as well on that same screen. So I reckon this first episode is going to deal with pretty much where we left off in Season 1, which was #1 being hauled off to face the charges of being an augment. Now, our second episode of the season, Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2, is called Ad Astra Per Aspera. This is Latin, and it translates as to the stars through difficulties. Well, let's face it, going to the stars and facing difficulties pretty much sums up every episode of Star Trek, I guess, in some way or another. So this is kind of a bit of a tough one to nail down what exactly this episode might be about, because going to the stars and facing difficulties, is kind of the staple of Star Trek. Now, episode 3 of Season 2 Strange New Worlds is entitled Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I'm guessing this is our time travel episode. There's been a lot of Star Trek episodes over the years that have had tomorrow in the title. Return to Tomorrow, we've had episodes like Tomorrow is Yesterday. There have always been in, I guess, original series, the time travel sort of episodes had tomorrow in the title. So I guess we're kind of expanding upon that in this particular episode called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I'm thinking, based on what we saw in the trailer, this is going to be our episode where we see Lan Noonien Singh and Captain James T. Kirk off shopping for clothes in some fashion store with Kirk having a few difficulties trying to squeeze himself through a revolving door. This episode, I'm guessing, is going to be wrapped up in those visuals we saw from the trailer that came out recently. So I'm looking forward to that. Time travel episodes are always fun, and I'm really hoping that the performance from Paul Wesley as Kirk becomes a little bit more identifiable as Kirk. I kind of found his performance in the last episode of Season 1 not really anything recognisable in terms of trying to exude the spirit of William Shatner in his portrayal of Kirk. I thought Chris Pine did a really good job in the sort of Kelvin Universe movies, bringing the spirit of Kirk to his performance. But I kind of got to say I didn't really notice it anywhere near to the same extent with Paul Wesley's performance. I think Paul Wesley's a little bit old to be playing Kirk, to be quite honest. He should be the same age. He should be very early 30s, you know. He should be a lieutenant. He should be kind of the same sort of age as Spock. Paul Wesley is in his early 40s. Kirk said when he was captain of the Enterprise in, I think it was one of the earlier seasons, maybe Season 2 of the show, that he was meant to be 34 or something. So
Strange New World Season 2 takes place in 2260. Kirk was born in 2233. That means at the time of Season 2 for Strange New Worlds, Kirk is meant to be about 27 years old, serving on the Farragut as a lieutenant.
The fact that Paul Wesley is in his early 40s and playing this role always seemed like a little bit of a misstep to me. Episode number 4 of Season 2 is entitled Among the Lotus Eaters. A little bit ominous sounding title, this one, Among the Lotus Eaters. I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of Planet of the Week sort of style episode, this one, you know, confronting a new race or something and, you know, having to deal with some sort of issues. Well, we had a few good episodes in Season 1 that kind of fell into that category, so that should be a bit of fun. Lotus Eaters sounds a little bit ominous, perhaps.
Maybe this is the one where they all don the coats and pretend to be Rigelians going down to that barbarian-style planet.
Episode 5 of Season 2 is entitled Charades. Now, I'm guessing this isn't going to be the crew sitting around Pike's quarters, you know, around the island bench there and, you know, having a few glasses of wine and playing charades, but perhaps some episode where the crew has to discover or maybe communicate with another race through other means, or having to uncover some secret perhaps. Episode 6 of the season is entitled Lost in Translation. Now, I'm guessing this would be the episode we saw in the trailer. The images of Uhura with a shuttlecraft crashed on a planet. She looks like she's by herself. Now, obviously, Uhura is the communications officer. She speaks multiple languages. Her main skill in her job is to translate things. So the fact that we see Uhura in the trailer kind of marooned on a planet in a crashed shuttle. She's lost in translation. I'm guessing this is the Uhura crashed on a planet by herself episode, based on the title for this one. Episode 7, I believe, is going to be the episode that we are all really hanging out to see. And that episode is called Those Old Scientists. Now, I believe, in fact, I will guarantee you, in fact, that this is the episode where we get to see Boimler and Mariner from Star Trek Lower Decks come into Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And the reason I think this is the case is because this particular phrase, those old scientists, has been used in Lower Decks before. In the last episode of Season 1, where we saw them go to that away mission on the planet that had Landru, and the residents of the planet had readopted Landru as their god, and they were doing the whole Red Hour thing. When Ransom and Freeman got back to the ship, Ransom said to Freeman,
Yeah, I know. It's always weird revisiting planets from the TOS era.
TOS?
It's what I call the 2260s. Stands for Those Old Scientists. You know, Spock, Scotty, those guys. Seems like they were stumbling on crazy new aliens every week back then.
So the fact that he said that and made that direct reference to going back to the TOS era, I think is a pretty good indication that this is going to be our crossover episode where we see Boimler and Mariner somehow get swept back in time to be on the Enterprise with Pike and crew. And then we might even see, I think, a bit of the reverse. Pike and crew maybe in the animated world with Boimler and Mariner. Episode 7, Those Old Scientists, is our crossover episode between Lower Decks and Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Now, episode 8 of the season is entitled Under the Cloak of War. I'm guessing this is probably going to be the Klingon episode. Obviously, a few shots that we saw in the trailer with Klingons and Spock there having some blood wine with Klingons and everything. So it seems like maybe this would be the Klingon episode based on this sort of description, I'm guessing. Episode 9 is entitled Subspace Rhapsody. This kind of seems like it is a sort of a slightly more whimsical title. So this could potentially be an episode that maybe is a fraction more lighthearted, perhaps. Episode 10 is entitled Hegemony, which I'm pretty sure this would probably relate to the Gorn, because the Gorn are known as the Gorn Hegemony. Or is it Hegemony? Because the Gorn are the Hegemony. That's their collective, I guess you'd call it. Whether we're going to be seeing some more Gorn in this episode than we have in the past. Obviously, Season 1 had a few independent kind of Gorn episodes, but it looks like we might be seeing them a bit more en masse in this episode, because we've obviously got, crewmen being roared in the face by Gorn. We've got Federation Starfleet vessels that have been completely obliterated by Gorn attacks, and we've got Spock and Chapel in EV suits, and we've got, Gorn vessels surrounding damaged ships and everything. So I'm guessing episode 10 is going to be a big Gorn episode, with them facing off against the Gorn. So there you go. Episode 1, Broken Circle. 2, Ad Astra Per Aspera. 3, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. 4, Among the Lotus Eaters. 5, Charades. 6, Lost in Translation. 7, Those Old Scientists. 8, Under the Cloak of War. 9, Subspace Rhapsody. And 10, Hegemony. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Sci-Finatics yet, please don't be shy to do so. Click on that big subscribe button to stay current and up to date with all the latest Star Trek news on YouTube. Guys, let me know in the comment section what episode of Strange New Worlds are you perhaps looking forward to most this season. Is it the Klingon episode? Is it the Gorn episode? Is it the Lower Decks Strange New Worlds crossover episode? Is it the Rigel 7 episode? There's a few good ones coming up there, I reckon. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section as to which one you're perhaps looking forward to most. If you're able to, please leave a super thanks. That helps the channel out a lot. And also check out my merch in the merch store. Hoodies, mugs, t-shirts, you name it, it's all there. Plenty of cool Star Trek designs to choose from. Pick yourself a bargain and also support the channel at the same time. Guys, I'll be back soon with my next video. I'll see you then.